Hey, my friend Russ Whitney here. And you know, the internet is crowded these days. Everybody is a guru, everybody's an expert. And truth be told, as you know, there's good doctors, good lawyers, bad lawyers. I want to tell you a little story here, and I think this is something that can really help you. You know, there was a time back years ago when I was working in a slaughterhouse. My job was killing hogs for a living for $6 an hour at the Tobin Packing Company in Albany, New York, upstate New York. And I got this idea in my head that I could do something better with my life. Have you ever had that happen to you? Like, I could do something better, or dreaming maybe about getting wealthy or becoming financially independent or being able to buy the second car that you want, not that you gotta have because of budget constraints. Becoming financially independent. You know, if you've had that dream, you could probably achieve it. How, though? You need a step-by-step plan. Let me tell you how it happened for me, and I've replicated that in a way that I think I can make that happen for you. So one day, I get this Entrepreneur magazine. Now, this is years ago, way before the proliferation of the internet. And Entrepreneur's been around a long time. So in the back of those magazines used to be all the get-rich-quick schemes. And so I saw these, and I was a young kid. I was ignorant. I wasn't worldly. I hadn't been exposed to anything like that. And so I started sending away for all these get-rich-quick schemes. I bet you have. You know, these days, you can go out to some of these seminars, and they'll get you for $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000, and you never know what you're getting. You know, a lot of people have made a mistake doing that. What if you could access that kind of stuff for cents on the dollar? I mean, cents on the dollar. So here's what happened. I sent for a Duraclane Johnny King, had to stuff envelopes and make $300,000 a year for the rest of your life without getting out of bed. And that's true. I wish that one would have worked. But none of those worked for me. Now, that doesn't mean people haven't made money in those things. It just didn't resonate with me. And maybe you've tried some things that haven't resonated with you. Well, I think I can show you a whole host of things where we can find what fits your talents, your skills, your experiences. So here's how it happened for me. One day I sent off for this book on real estate investing, okay? No magical answers. It was called How to Wake Up the Financial Genius Inside You, written by a guy named Mark Harrelson. This is 30 years ago. And although this book didn't have any magical answers, it had a concept in it. And the concept was to go to an area of town, look for properties that were in run-down, beat-up shape. Not single families now. None of this is HGTV stuff. This is how real people do it. And look for duplex, triplex that was run down. And it said, don't look for major work. Look for the least amount of work that can give you the most amount of cosmetic improvement, like paint, jazz, clean up kind of stuff. That made sense to me, and then it had a mathematical concept which showed me how you can figure out whether or not a property makes money before you ever buy it, an income property. You simply add up the rents. You got a duplex, each side rents for $1,000, that's $2,000. Deduct your tax, your insurance, your water, sewer, maintenance, vacancy. If there's money left over, that's positive cash flow. That made sense to me, this eighth grade math. And I was so young and ignorant, not exposed, that if something was in a book, it must have been true. I never even questioned it. I bought this book in 3 weeks. This is documented, 27 years old. I was written up as one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the United States. Well documented and publicized. I've been on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of TV shows for years and years and years. I've written 3 New York Times best-selling books on not only real estate investment, but personal development, on business scaling. And there is something for you that can get you where you want to go if you'll just hang with me for about a minute longer. So I set off for this book. 3 weeks later, I used a technique out of the book called the seller subordination technique. And I'll teach you about that later on if you hang with me. And I made $11,000. Now, that may not sound like a lot of money to you, but when I make it $6 an hour in a 40-hour week, that's $250 a week. Now, again, it's years ago. $11,000 was a year's pay for me. I mean, it was like, holy cow. And I figured way back then, one book, $11,000, a lot of books, a lot of money. So as you can see, I started sending away for all the get-rich books that you see in the back of magazines. By the time I was 23 years old, I accumulated 6 or 7 run-down properties that probably nobody would ever want. But it was generating $1,500 or $1,600 a month in positive cash flow after all the bills. That that gave me the ability to quit my job. My job, I was making $1,200 a month. This was making me $1,400 a month. So here's what I didn't do. I didn't go buy a car or jewelry, or depreciating assets. I took all that money, I put it back into another property and into another property. Before you know it, by the time I was 23, as I say, I was 23, I had enough money to pay my mortgage payment, car payment, put food on the table without having to go to the job. That gave me time to think about and study how to make money, and instead of going to a job and working for somebody to get my money. And man, oh man, I started to buy books on motivation and positive thinking. And some of them were ridiculous, but it changed my life because I didn't even know what positive thinking was back then. And so 4 years later, at the age of 27, I was written up in several national publications, one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the United States. And I wrote a book on how I did. That was my very first book. Today sold over 1 million copies. Since then, I've written over 30 books, 3 bestsellers, as I told you. And after that book, I was invited to speak at a seminar. I went out and spoke at a seminar. I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I just showed them picture for picture, property for property, what I had done. Talked to them about some of the positive things that changed my thinking and my life, made me believe that I could actually become a millionaire, which today, many hundreds of times over. So guys, here's what happened to me. I then started a training company. I enjoyed the interaction with people so much and sharing. I was so excited, about what I had done. I wanted to share it. And I'll tell you what, the truth is, when I get up on the stage and people are coming and they were, kind of adoration, it made me feel good. And I got to tell you that motivated me to want to share this information, which I've been doing for over 30 years. In 1996, I started a company called Whitney Education Group, and we built one of the largest financial training companies in the world, not the United States, the world, on business scaling, motivation, personal development, real estate investing, stock investing, virtually anything, how to make money 101 in the real world. And I often say to people, listen, you can go to Harvard Business School. If that professor's never made $1 million, how is he going to show you how to make $1 million? Because theory and what works in a real world are two completely different things, as you know. So I want to invite you, if you like what you've heard and you want to hear more about how you can benefit from not only the success, but the mistakes, more importantly, the mistakes I've made that you can avoid, then click right below on that button and I'll spend a few more minutes giving you some more detail. Russ Whitney signing out. I hope you click the button.